Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We got a creep here. And when that creep cop we covered, well, now we got a creep doctor. Let's get into this doctor. Okay, we're going to watch a press conference. This came up today. And I was like, are you flipping kidding me? All right, but first let me get into. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. Need to reach out to me? Look in the description. Okay, so we're gonna get into this creep cop. Really get someone. Oh, let's not forget. Please hit the like button and share me out if you can, and all that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna get into this creep here, and this really bothers me because you have a lot of people that's creepy, a lot of creepy men, and they like to have hidden cameras to violate women. And women don't know that this guy has a camera. So this guy here is a doctor. hmm And he has hidden cameras from 2-year-olds to adults. So we're going to listen to the press conference. We're going to get more into it, okay? And what you do is hit the like button, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. We're going to get into this creep. Oh, child, we got to get into him. And it might be a double decker today because we got to get into Jennifer Lopez too. But we're not going to discuss Jennifer right now. We're going to discuss this creep here. Mm-hmm. I mean, you should just look at the sheriff's face. He's like, this is crazy. But this happens a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and you have to be careful when you go into these changing rooms and stuff. There could be a hidden camera in there. Mm-hmm. It can be because there's always that weirdo. You could just stop at the gas station real quick. Say, oh, let me just jump in real quick. I got to the bathroom. It could be a creep owner of the gas station have a hidden camera. Yeah. All right, let's get into this one here. Let's discuss him. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into this press conference, and you tell me your thoughts. Creep, creep doctor. Oh, and then also, well, just read the description. You get a little bit more about it. Resume.
Get all good. Everybody good? Okay, thank you. I hate staying at this podium lately. Unfortunately, we're here, the good prosecutor, Karen McDonald, and I, tag teaming yet again on another terrible, terrible case. So I'll give you a little bit of the background, and then our prosecutor will speak to the charges that have already been issued. So the baseline is this: on August 7th, we received information concerning potential criminal activities of a physician, a Dr. Oumair Aejaz. Oumair Aejaz, I believe is the pronunciation, 37-year-old Rochester Hills resident who's married and is father of 2 young boys. The allegations were that he was engaged in activity, including but not limited to placing hidden cameras in changing rooms, video recording young children as young as 2 years of age, and all the way up to grown adults in different settings. The current criminal charges, which the prosecutor will speak to, are primarily from activities conducted in Rochester and Rochester Hills when he was off duty, where it appears to utilize cameras that were deployed separate from himself and then also on his person. They were used in changing rooms, bathrooms, hospital rooms, as well as inside closets, bathrooms, and bedrooms of residents that he had access to. We believe the criminal activity has been going back at least 6 years, but this is, and I can't stress this enough, so much the tip of the iceberg. He was arrested.
There'll be times I pause to share my thoughts. Help me to understand. Someone would spend so many years in college to become a doctor, paying off student loans, unless he had a rich family, they paid off at the point, but whatever. And to do something like this. Are you kidding me? There's something seriously wrong with him. Something seriously wrong with him. But, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of them walking around like this. A lot of them. So you have to be careful. Okay, especially ladies, we have to be careful. When you go in these changing rooms, using bathrooms, or even a guy you could be dating. You could be dating a guy and he's a creep. You thinking you two in a room making love and it's just you two? Oh no, he has a little hidden camera in the bookshelf. You can get cameras just as small as a pin. He can have it hidden inside the bookcase. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a creep. And next thing you know, you on, what is that thing called? Hub, the P hub, if you know what I'm talking about. This makes me angry. All right, resume.
Then on August 8th by our detectives as they were served a search warrant and again formally charged by the prosecutor, which she'll speak to those charges. He's currently in our jail at $2 million cash bond, no 10%. So the background on this individual is he's an Indian citizen, has been working in the U.S. on a visa, came to the United States about 2011 for his internship in Michigan. He moved to Dawson, Alabama around 2018 and returned to Oakland County to continue his practice here. So this may stretch not just in Michigan, but to other states and potentially even other countries. He has worked at Ascension Genesis Hospital in Grand Blanc and Henry Ford Macomb Hospital in Clinton Township, but we're still trying to determine where else he may have worked. He was apparently an individual, a contracted physician that went to different locations for a company rather than having his own specific practice. So we still don't know the scope of how many facilities or venues he may have visited in that regard. It's obviously, as I said, very active investigation. It's in its infancy. We've already done a great number of search warrants. We've confiscated at this point 6 computers, 4 cellular phones, 15 external storage devices, and just one of the hard drives. And videos. So each one of them will have to be gone through to determine if there's criminality or potential criminality in those videos. And then the prosecutor ultimately will determine if there is the charges from those. This could take as long as 6 months just to get through what we already have. So our computer crimes unit is deeply engaged in this and has put tons of hours into this already. And the other potential is there also might be cloud storage. So we're trying to run that down, which obviously would add the potential for more. Due to the lengthy time that he's been involved in this activity and the large amounts of
When they get a hold of that cloud storage, they're going to see some stuff, boy. For 6 years, even a 2-year-old. Why was this? I have a question for everybody. Just help me to understand. Why was he born? Why were you born? People probably looked up to you, your family in India, and everybody was looking up proud. Your mother and father was probably proud. Oh, look at our son. He comes to America. He becomes a doctor. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize he's Dr. Creep. That's what he is. Dr. Creep. Resume.
storage that we have in our possession, we believe there's obviously a lot more to be uncovered. So we're seeking to identify more victims, and we set up a special email for anybody that believes that they are a victim of this activity to email and communicate directly with our investigators. We'll be displaying that, but I will read it to you. It is OCSO, like our initials, SIU, which is our Special Investigation Unit, OCSO SIU at oakgov.com. We'll put that up on the screen. If you believe you've been a victim or have information about this individual or this person's activities, please send us anything that you have or any questions or concerns you have. We believe he did his residency at Sinai Grace, and as I said, then went to Alabama, and has been involved in a lot of different scenarios. So, you know, as we look at this, and I've been involved in sexual predator criminal investigations for a long time. You know, I've been in law enforcement 37 years. And in my early part of my career, I did a number of investigations of sexual predators. And then in a moment in between that career, I was a senator and I wrote the Sex Offender Registry Act. And so I went deep down the rabbit hole of profiling sexual offenders to determine how they operated and how we could best protect the public from them. This individual potentially is one of the worst I've ever seen because there's no particular category. It's not just children. It's not just women. It's not just men. It goes from a 2-year-old to a grown woman. And so
What he's saying, it makes it even more creepier because, like he's trying to say, there's no pattern with him. It goes from a 2-year-old to grown women, even I guess men too. So he's just a creep all around. He just likes to violate people's privacy. That's basically it. He's one of those dudes that like to violate people's privacy. He's a dusty creep. Dusty creep doctor. I know he's an embarrassment to his family. I hope he don't have a bunch of enablers. You know how that go. But I don't think so. I think they said something. Oh, no, that was the wife. We're going to listen some more. All right, resume.
The victimization is so broad and the perversion so great that we're just beginning to wrap our arms around it, and disturbing on so many levels that it's hard to look at the videos of that activity where a woman is basically unconscious in a hospital bed and he's violating her to it.
So he has a woman that's unconscious in the hospital bed and he's violating her, if you know what I'm talking about. Are you flipping kidding me? This happens, ladies and gentlemen. This happens a lot. When you're under anesthesia, you don't know what's happening. You could be going to get your tooth pulled, get that wisdom tooth pulled, and they put you to sleep. You don't know what's happening when you out. You just wake up in another room and they just try to make sure you're okay, safe enough to go home, that you don't, pass out. And do I see Lovejoy? Lovejoy. I'm gonna email you after this too, because with the video. Thank you for sending me that video. What was I just leading to? I done forgot. But basically, he's a creep. I'll resume and I'll get back to it. Make sure everybody hit the like.
A 2-year-old thinking they're out for a great swim day and they're being captured naked. There's nobody that's out of bounds for this sick activity. So I'm excited that our prosecutors already got him locked up while we continue the investigation. If there's medical facilities that I have not talked about that have had him licensed or practicing in their facility, they need to let us know, because we're working to get our arms around how big this is. But when you think about the incredible perversion and destructive activity of Nasser, he had a much smaller group of victims in terms of potential. There's no limit to his perversion of this individual. So we're going to need the public's help and victims' help, because a lot of these we may not even be able to identify because we have so many victims, so many videos of people. We have no idea who they are and sometimes yet what the venue is. So with that, I'll kick it over. I'll put up the
He said we have so many victims. He's just been doing this forever. Ooh, and Lovejoy, I absolutely love your new avatar. I love it. This guy is sick. He's been doing this for years. And like they said, they can't even figure out what is his, a certain type. Maybe just go for old ladies, say like senior citizens, just children, all above, anything that come along, he wants to videotape it while he sits in his house. And if I'm correct, he's married. Watch your husbands, ladies. Watch your husbands. Resume. Not even just your husband. Watch your man. Resume.
that is our individual. I'll let you capture that, and then I'll put up the email address and I'll kick it over to our prosecutor.
How old is he?
37.
Thank you.
And that's the email address on the bottom.
Thank you so much, Sheriff.
That's right.
I'm going to talk about the charges that our office has already issued. But first I want to say, much like Sheriff Bouchard, the victims are our primary focus. I too started my career as a prosecutor, prosecuting child sexual assault cases. And, I feel like we find ourselves saying a lot, this is the worst we've seen, and yet we see worse. But this particularly hit home to me as just being a mom. These allegations stemmed from a mom bringing her young children to a swim school and taking them into a changing room and getting them changed. And the allegations are that the defendant was filming them from a nearby changing area stall. And it's a complete violation, and it's.
I know I'm pausing a lot because I have to talk about this. There, when, my boys was, little babies, he used to take them to swimming lessons. And I remember the changing room. Y'all know what I'm talking about, that changing room. Didn't know that you got creeps like this will have a hidden camera in there. Ladies and gentlemen, have to be careful. And ladies, you really have to be careful because you don't know the man that you could be dealing with. He could be a creep, and this could be his fetish. He likes to videotape you while you sleeping. Put a little drug in you. Have to be careful. When you go in these changing rooms, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what department store you at, you have to be careful because somebody can have a hidden camera in there. And the owner of the store might not even know. It could just be the creep security guard, the creep employee. Have a hidden camera in there. This stuff happens. I'm not making this up. This really does happen a lot. You could be dating a guy. For example, he at your house, you stepped to go and take a shower or stepped in the back to cook him something to eat, and he got a hidden camera in the room. And it could be so small, you won't even know. You could put it inside your plant. You won't even know. He could put it inside in your bookcase, your lamp. You won't even know. I'm just saying, you have to be careful. There's a lot of creeps out here. All right, let's resume. Ooh, I got a new haircut and color blend, embracing the gray hair. Ooh, you go, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all got to do a little change up now. I know I'm trying to get a new look too. The fall coming in. Woo, child. All right, let's get back to it.
It's terrifying as a mother, and we're going to do everything we can to hold him accountable. And we're working in partnership with that. As the sheriff just said, this stems from events that occurred, the events of our current criminal case. August 13th, the defendant's wife produced materials that were concerning the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, immediately executed a search warrant and confiscated more devices, and has sifted through really jarring, alarming images, and they're still doing that. He is charged with 1 count of child sexually abusive activity, 4 counts of capturing an image of an unclothed person, 5 counts of using a computer to commit a crime, and he's being held on a $2 million bond, no 10%. We feel confident that he will remain there. Of course, these are all allegations, and the defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. As the sheriff said, it's extremely disturbing. These videos were taken, these images, some of them in a swim school in Rochester, where moms and kids were just there for their swimming lessons and changing in a changing area. And those are just the charges we've brought so far that relate to the victims that we can identify. As the sheriff said, we fully expect and actually know that there are thousands and thousands of images and videos that we will have to work, law enforcement in partnership with others, to identify who those victims are. And those are all being investigated. I also want to say that this is, there are so many victims that we know about and a lot we don't know about. But this individual preyed not just on parents and community members and trust, but also in our well-respected institutions and hospitals, who I do want to point out have been very cooperative and are working to see those victims identified and want very much to work with law enforcement to hold him accountable.
There are
I can't stress enough the amount of hours and hours and hours of work it takes for the computer crimes section of the sheriff's office. And they have been doing that almost around the clock for over a week. These are difficult images to view, and it will take some time. We wanted to be cautious and careful about what we release to the public because we don't and can't identify all the victims at this point. We now have ability to access information and digitally analyze so much evidence, and because of that are bringing these kinds of horrific acts to light, but it takes a partnership with our law enforcement, and we rely on the computer crimes section a lot, and we are continuing to work together to make sure we can identify all the victims in this case. Thank you.
Questions?
Are the allegations all that it was just, not just, but that it was on camera, he was recording people, videoing people, or is there any that he was actually sexually abusing?
Oh, yeah, he definitely sexually abused someone.
I agree with you, BG. I didn't like store fitting rooms either. You're right. I remember years ago, BG, I went, at the Walmart, whatever I was trying to buy. I said, and it really was my first time. I don't go to Walmart changing room. And I said, let me just try this on real quick. And I remember when I went in there, I looked up. I said, I could see the ceiling. But however, there's no top over this changing room. So if I see the ceiling, and we in Walmart, the ceiling is way high, and we know there's cameras up there because they're watching people stealing. So that camera could go inside this fitting room, and they can see. Correct? I'm just saying. Ever since then, I said, no. And like I said, the person who owns the place might be a good person, but don't realize that they have a creep employee that will hide, that would have a hidden camera there because he gets off on violating women. Lord, we have to pray. Ladies, we got to be careful out here. There's a lot of creep men out here. And they will put up a show, act like they such a good stand-up guy, such a gentleman, clean-cut, honest guy, Christian guy, put up all that crap. But he might have a hidden fetish, and he likes to videotape without your permission. Now, if you two grown adults in a relationship and you two want to do videotaping, I mean, hey, that's your business. You two grown adults, that's consensual. Go ahead, go for it. If that's what you like, that's your kink. That's what makes your relationship blossom. But for someone to put out a camera and you don't know about it, that is completely wrong. That is wrong. You are not supposed to do that. You got some creep guys out here that want to slip a little something in your drink. Yeah. You have to be careful. I'll give you a scenario. You can go over to a guy's house and he asks you want something to drink. You say sure. And you watch him open up the bottle of water, open up the bottle of wine. You literally watching him. And then you might say, oh, he's like, would you like some ice? You say sure. So he go and reach the ice, right? But you don't know that he has something in the ice that will drug you. Yes, this crap happens. Yes, it does. And that's what my channel is about. We need to learn and be aware and be careful. Resume.
Folks, even on camera.
Since he's an Indian citizen, is this investigation going to go across international borders as well? Are you in touch with Indian police?
Well, that, as I said at the outset, I think that's a good possibility. It will end up in multiple states, potentially multiple countries. So as our computer crimes unit, who unfortunately has the task of seeing this disgusting stuff nonstop, if we're able to either use geotags or other kinds of things that will help us determine where things happen, it will just take it where it is, and then obviously engage with our international partners as well.
So far, how many victims do we have?
I can't even put a guess on it because there's so many images.
Ones you've identified?
We haven't identified many of the victims, but we have multiple people that are captured on film in different states of complete undress, or where they are appears to be under some kind of anesthesia, and they're being violated. I can't even put a guess on it at this point.
Would you be able to share how did this crime come to light?
We were given information by his wife.
Are the 5 victims who are in the charged cases, they're in court records as Jane Doe's and John Doe? Does that mean they're not identified yet, or are you just protecting their identity?
We're protecting their identity. The current charges that we've issued from the events that we've identified have occurred in Oakland County thus far involve 4 separate victims, and we absolutely have identified them, but are trying to protect their privacy.
Can you tell us what was the swim club in Rochester Hills, the name of it?
Yeah, and again, as the prosecutor said, the hospitals and the swim location are victims in this as well. There is no information at all that they had any idea any of this behavior was going on, but it was the goldfish facility in Rochester.
And they've all been very cooperative.
Super cooperative.
I just clarify, the victims that have been identified, the 4 victims in the currently charged case, where were those victims at? Obviously, we know Goldfish facility in Rochester. Was there another hospital as well, or were the victims all from that swim school?
The currently charged cases are stemmed from the swim school. And it is a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and 2 adult females.
Were those devices placed in areas that he had specific access to, or could they have been, more public places no one would expect him to be able to plant a device like that?
Yeah, it looks like he's potentially using a variety of camera options, including something that may have been accessible, maybe even controlled by a device, and some things may have been just his cell phone. I mean,
Wow, this creep was going all out. He got some fancy cameras. Probably, remote controls and stuff. He can program and everything. He took this really serious, didn't he? Well, the creep is caught. Unfortunately, there's a lot of these creeps walking around here. Why was he born? Curious.
that's still a work in progress, but it looks like, again, there's sometimes opportunistic moments when he does it, and other times where it looks like he has intentionally planned the moment.
And just for clarification, I know you guys talked about this, but this time with the kids, this most recent time, I think Karen, you were talking about this stemming from the woman changing her children. Was he physically holding something? Is that how he got caught?
No, he was not caught there. They were unaware. This was discovered on the hard drives that we were investigating. So the camera looks like it's looking underneath into their changing room, and whether, what that actual device looked like, I'm sure we'll get into some more of the evidence as this case proceeds, but he obviously had been examining and researching cameras to do a variety of surreptitious activity.
So he was never physically with the camera with these recordings?
Oh no, he was with cameras, absolutely. In some of the videos, he's actually shows himself.
I understand there's a lot of evidence to go through. So far, how far?
So he videotapes them, and as he videotapes them from a distance, he'll turn around and videotape and show himself like he's proud of what he's doing. Damn. I don't understand how somebody can go to college for so long and pay all this money, medical school and everything. That's not easy. And to throw it all away like this. Only a creep would do that, right? I guess a creep. Yeah, a creep would do that.
Far do you see this sort of activity dating back to?
Well, I detailed what we've seen so far. So I guess, that's the current range. If they find out there's cloud storage, we don't know what may or may not be there. We don't know the depth of, we don't know what we don't know. We just know it's massive, and they've got thousands of hours ahead of them to run through and determine if something looks to be criminal. And then that gets handed to the prosecutor, and then they keep going.
And where was he arrested?
At his home in Rochester Hills.
One last question for me, at least. The court document shows that his age is 40. So is there a discrepancy there?
I was early on told he was 37. Detective, anybody?
Everybody says what they want to say behind the screen.
I'm sure really he's 40.
We'll confirm that with you. Or when this started percolating, I was told he was 37. Once we kind of had him in our sights, we focused more on what he did, not necessarily his date of birth, but we'll get that to you.
And in the charging documents, I just want to clarify the number of victims. It lists 4 Jane Does and 1 John Doe. So are there 5 or 4 victims in that case?
There are 4 victims.
Sorry, one other question on the Goldfish facility incident. So the offense date on the online court record shows August 21st, 2023. So this was an event that happened last summer that was seen on the hard drives. That's how you connected that case. Is that correct?
Correct.
It was from last year. Okay.
Correct.
What would you guys say to victims who might see this, who are a little nervous to come forward, even still with his face out there and everything?
That's why we gave an email so that they could do it, in a way that's hopefully not fearful for them, that they don't have to, physically come in. They can send in information, and then we can begin to make sure that they understand we're on their team. If they're a victim, we're going to do everything we can to protect them, but also to hold the perpetrator accountable for what was done to them.
And for the thousands of videos that you were talking about found on the hard drives, is that believed to be all pornographic images?
We have to go through it. Yeah, I mean, some of these last an extended period of time, and you may watch the whole thing, and there may be nothing that appears to be criminal, and other of these videos, it pops up immediately, like, oh my gosh.
Shout out to the detectives, the work that they have to do, to have to go through all this footage of this creep. And you have to really go through the footage with a fine-tooth comb because you got to get the evidence. And there's probably so much. Mm-hmm. Well, thank God we can say that he's caught. He won't be able to do it anymore because he wasn't going to stop. He wasn't. Nope. Creeps like this don't stop. They only, advance themselves in in their creepness. That's all they do.
Where is he now?
I do want to point out that the charge of child sexual activity, abusive activity, is related to a underage individual who is not named. We don't know the identity, but it's of pornographic nature, and just the possession of that. That's what that charge relates to.
And that's not related to the swim school.
That's correct.
So he's not charged with creating child porn at this point then?
He is charged with one count of child sexually abusive activity. So that means it's on his device.
Possession of a child.
Well, the charging language is did attempt to prepare or conspire to arrange for, produce, make, copy, reproduce, or finance any child sexually abusive material. So that might be why you were thinking there were 5. One is unidentified.
So 4 identified, then the 4.
Yes.
Do we have a correct pronunciation of his name?
That's the best information I was told. Sorry? Aejaz. Oumair Aejaz. There we have
Can you just read those charges, that list of charges again? I wasn't quick enough to jot them down.
Sure. Here, one count of child sexually abusive activity, 1 count of using a computer to commit a crime, 4 counts of using a computer to commit a crime, and then 4 counts of capturing and distributing image of unclothed person.
How many charges?
10 total.
The video that you mentioned of the woman unconscious in her hospital bed, was he there as a doctor or somebody visiting, or are you not sure at this point?
There's not just one. There's not just one.
Yeah, she was mentioned that there's more than one.
Oh, more.
Unfortunately, a woman that appears to be in that situation, whether that was an individual he had been charged with any kind of medical care of, or he just accessed that room on his own, or if he went there on his own time because he had credentials. All of that's part of the investigation.
And not the subject of any charges at this point.
I also noticed there's a distribution charge as well. Is there an aspect where he was distributing those images somewhere?
There's 5 counts of using a computer to commit a crime, 4 counts of capturing and distributing the image of an unclothed person. Those relate to the Goldfish Swim School. 2 of the victims were not minors.
And to put a kind of an exclamation point on your question, at this point, our computer crimes unit hasn't determined he had sent these or shared these elsewhere, but these were his. But that's still going to be part if they find in the computer or the devices that he had been communicating or sharing. If you remember a very terrible case we had many, many years ago, we started with a few victims at a home in Oakland County and found out it was a national network of they would do the victimization and then share it. And we don't have anything on that at this point, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
And you compared this case to the Nasser case. From what you've seen so far, does this have the potential to be bigger than that because of his victimization pool?
Yeah, I mean, that's what concerns me is that as terrible as that case was, it was based on actual patients in front of him, typically in a certain kind of target victimization. This has no target. It's completely random. It can be a stranger. It can be a person in a medical setting. It can be someone in his home. It can be anyone.
Just to clarify, sorry, it sounds.
He said it can be anyone. This creep he just wanted to violate anybody. I know you was such an embarrassment to your family. Such an embarrassment. And your wife and your kids, if you have kids, this is such an embarrassment. Especially the wife to know that you was married to a creep. Spend those late nights in the basement, downstairs, on the computer, talking about he working. He over there editing all these creepy pictures he had to put them together, his little collage of creepness. Ladies, Watch your man. Watch your husband. Go through that stuff. Yeah, I said it. Go through that stuff. If you feel anything funny, check. Mm-hmm. You think he ain't gonna do it if he feels something funny? You don't think he's not gonna check? Ha! Believe me, he will. Resume.
Sounds like maybe the date I'm looking at on here concerning the swim school might not be accurate. What is the date of the offense on the swim school incident?
That was in August 23.
Is it all from one event or is it from multiple separate events?
I believe it was the wife. I think it was the wife.
It's not just from one day. So there's a range.
Does he have a medical specialty?
He's an internist.
So what hospital? I mean, you said Henry Ford McCall. Is that who he's been in most recently?
And no, I also said another one. So those are the two that we're distinctly aware of. Henry Ford Macomb and Ascension Genesis. But, there's the potential for him to have been elsewhere. And that's still, as I said, if any other medical facilities had him credentialed or any other victim is aware of him being in another facility, we would like that information.
And there's nothing public on there about a history of issues with his license. Are you aware of anything?
We have no criminal history on him.
Exactly, PG. Dusty's come in all shapes, sizes, colors, nationality, height, weight, occupation. You're just a Dusty. Mm-hmm. So we got a creep Dusty doctor. Why was he born? Curious.
Him or any other complaints prior to us getting tapped into this early this month.
Is there anything people can do to make sure that this doesn't happen to them? I mean, if they're going into, a public facility like a swim school or even a hospital, what can you do to prevent this?
Yeah, and that's probably one of the most disturbing parts is it's so.
The report asks a good question. What do you need to do to protect yourself from all this? High school, everything. So that's something to think about. I didn't even think about that. The janitor who cleans up the bathrooms and the lockers and everything. How you don't know he don't have a hidden camera in there when he know all the cheerleaders are gonna go in there and change their clothes? This is sick. How do you know? I'm just making up scenarios. Anybody. He could be the goddamn principal of the high school. He might have some sort of weird fetish. And he might have a thing for looking at these young girls or young boys. And put a camera in there. Mm-hmm. You just don't know who is a creep. You really don't. This is scary. But this happens so much. It happens so often. I'm not making this up. This happens too much. Okay. Lovejoy said, this is really nothing you can do. Isn't it sad? That's the sad part. Oh, gosh. It's always the ones you least expect to do something like this. Exactly. Don't sleep on people. Please, ladies and gentlemen, don't sleep on people. Just because you won't do it, that don't mean they won't do it. Because everybody has some sort of sexual fetish, desire. Everybody has one. See, the problem is with this dude is his is violating people's privacy. That's what turned him on. That was his fetish. That's what he likes. He wasn't content enough just having a wife. That wasn't enough for him. This is what turned him on. This is what he wanted to do. He's been doing it for 6 years. No shame in his game. Such an embarrassment. I hope everybody sue the crap out of him. Oh well. Let's get back to we almost done, ladies and gentlemen.
Unsettling because it's so random and it's so prolific in different venues. So, you don't think about certain things. And we in law enforcement think about the worst thing all the time. We're always looking. But, I hate to tell people, but when they go into a changing room, you're going to have to be aware. We know that. We've seen that in people that put cameras in hotel rooms and left them, and they've done a variety of things. It's one of those things where you just never know. You should be situationally aware is what we tell people. Certainly, if the changing room, like some situations are, like if you go to a department store, sometimes the changing room doors are almost like bathroom stalls. They don't go to the floor. Lots of times we'll see individuals using that at the top or the bottom, because it's not a wall all the way to the ceiling. There's a variety of ways that this is accomplished. Just try to be situationally aware. But we hate to make people paranoid, but unfortunately we've got some very sick people in this world. So that's one of the things we were actually chatting about in the medical setting. Obviously, if you can have somebody with you as your loved one when you're undergoing any medical procedures and when you're, coming out of those procedures, if at all possible, to have somebody with you, because again, the hospitals have been super cooperative and they're super unaware of all this. But because of his access and credentials, he could move pretty fluidly into some of these different situations.
Are you working with other law enforcement agencies?
We've already advised the different police agencies in the communities we're aware of what we're working on. There's going to be a meeting in the near future with detectives from those agencies. And as this, spins out, if it gets a lot bigger, we may have to create a task force at some point potentially, because it may be, as I said, something that grows.
I gotta find this movie. Ladies and gentlemen, that's here. Lovejoy, is it possible you two? We can have a movie night this Sunday? Because I got a good movie about a creep. And hopefully it's still on Tubi. If I can find it, it's still on Tubi. I can find a name. So maybe Sunday, we do movie night. On a situation like this. I have a great movie in it, and it oh my gosh, it scared the crap out of me with these hidden cameras. Ladies, we have to be careful with these men. These men will smile in your face, act like they a stand-up guy, such a gentleman, so chivalrous, they'll do anything for you. But this son of a is a creep. He got cameras in the room. I'm telling you, these cameras are so advanced, they so small, you won't even know where they at. He can hide in a bookcase. You be thinking it's just a pen that's on his desk, but it's actually a camera. I'm going to ask again. Please, somebody answer my question. I'm just curious. Help me to understand. Why was he born? People here, you can answer the question. People watch a replay. Just give me a little clarity. I'm just trying to understand. Why was he born? Why was this man born? Why was he born? You're just a disgrace. You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to your family. I hope they're not a bunch of enablers. We don't know. Just an embarrassment. All right, let's get back to it. I'm going to let y'all go because I really want to do a double decker today. We got to get into Jennifer Lopez. If I don't do it tonight, it'll be tomorrow, but we got to get into Jennifer Lopez. All righty, and Ben Affleck. Lord have mercy, I've been following that. All right, resume.
Exponentially, depending on what they find and see.
Can you say what those agencies are that you're working with right now?
Well, the two venues that you have, obviously, is you got Genesee and Macomb. So the Clinton Township and Grand Blanc Township are two of the agencies where those were the venues of stuff we've at least identified. We've already communicated with Rochester City Police, but that's within Oakland County, but they're also looped in on this as well.
So this isn't just a case of setting up cameras, getting his videos, and you've actually got a video of him assaulting people. Is that what I'm getting?
Yes, it goes beyond just capturing video. There's physical, assaultive, criminal conduct.
How did he get access to the swimming pool? Did he use his kids to be able to get in? Or?
That's still under investigation. Yes, they have kids. Yes, they've been there on those days in question. We don't know whether his kids were there. That's still part of a work in progress. I wouldn't put it past them, given what we've seen, to utilize children to put himself in a position to victimize other people. Again, going back to that one case, that individual had young kids, I think about 6 years old, and invited other kids over for play days and then victimized those kids. So, when you get somebody with a very sick predatory predilection, they utilize their access to get other victims.
That's not him you were just talking about, right?
No, I said that earlier case. So that, to the question of how did he access certain areas where there were kids, we're not sure at this point whether he went in there with his kids to get into that location to be able to do that, or whether he was able to get in alone.
But you did say in the press release that.
Sorry, lady, I keep pausing. I have to do this because I want to talk about this because this really bothers me. All right, so this creep uses his kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll use his kids to go. I'm just making up a scenario, right? He'll use his kids. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, Daddy, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. Why he put some hidden cameras so he could look at other. See what I'm saying? So this creep using his kids, huh? Lord, ladies, we have to be careful. There is a lot of creepy men out here, and they will put up a facade, they will put up a face, and you would think he's such a stand-up, good, decent man, but he's full of crap. He's a creep. He's a dusty. He's a bum. He's a derelict. He don't have nothing to offer you, and he ain't never gonna offer you anything but a wood stick. And the wood stick probably ain't even all that good. But to y'all ladies that still want to deal with that wood stick, prayers to y'all. All right, let me get back. Let me get back to this. Yeah. Yeah, he has children. The guy's sitting there saying the sheriff told him about he might. They didn't say, allegedly, that he might have been using his kids to get into certain places. Oh, I got, hey, Daddy, we going out. Yeah. Come on, let's go out. Let's go to the amusement park. Okay, Daddy. Daddy taking us to the amusement park. Not for his kids. Because he has a sick fetish. Why was he born? Nobody's answered my question. I'm just curious. I just like to know. I'm just curious. Why was he born? What was his purpose? Okay, let's get back to it.
Or bulletin that this happened in the swim club, hospital, and then also you said in his home, correct?
Yes.
So can you elaborate on that?
Use of the cameras, use of other things, we're just, again, scratching the surface, but based on that evidence that they've seen, they've been able to identify some of this occurred in private homes, including his.
What happened in his own home, if you're able to talk about that?
Capturing images of people when they were not aware.
Like life and
beyond that.
Just to be clear, these are explicit images of people. It's not just like capturing images of folks. It's like he's capturing.
Right. Not just taking a picture of someone having a cup of coffee, taking pictures while they're in the bathroom naked, as an example.
And how many kids did you say?
What the sheriff said, he ain't taking pictures of people just sipping coffee or something. He taking the pictures of people nude. Let's look at the creep real quick. There you go. Violate these people for years. Children, too. A woman under anesthesia and U.S. violating her? Are you flipping kidding me? Ladies, I'm telling y'all, this happens. If you ever have to get your tooth pulled, go through any surgery, or whatever, have to go to sleep, have someone there with you. Make sure. You don't know what's happening in that office. That door is closed. You knocked out sleep. You're just going to wake up in another room like, You don't know what's happening. And I think there was a true story years ago of some creep doctor. And when they go under anesthesia, he was, blank with them. And these women was coming up pregnant. Trying to understand. One woman, I think the story was, it's such an old movie, but the one woman, I think she was like, her husband was away or something. So she trying to figure out when she feeling sick and something going on with her body. And the doctor telling her she's pregnant. And she's like, what? How? Yeah. But how can that be? My husband ain't around. She ain't cheating on her husband. Because you was under anesthesia and you had a creep doctor. That's why. And he did it to several other women too. Yeah, yep. It happens. Oh, there's another creep story. You know Max Factor, right? The Max Factor makeup and all that kind of stuff, right? The grandson of the Max Factor. There was a movie. Anybody seen the movie? Please tell me if you've seen the movie here, that's seen the movie, or people that might have watching replay. And it was a movie with the Max Factor grandson. And his thing was, his creepy style was, this was his fetish, right? He would get women, they'll come over, whatever, and something, he'll drug them with some sort of drug that you basically use if you want to give somebody surgery, right? And then he'll do all kind of violate her whole everything, and then he'll videotape it. right? And then the girl wake up in the morning thinking he was a gentleman. Oh, you felt a little, dizzy or whatever, and I just let you lay down and covered you up. Oh, he's such a gentleman. He didn't even touch me. He didn't take advantage of me. No, he did what he had to do. You was knocked out. You didn't know. I forgot how he got caught, but he did get caught, right? And this is all a true story. Look it up. And he got caught and whatever. And then, I remember all the cops, like, they had to go through these videotapes and they had to call these women in. And it was like, do you know this guy? Is that you on the tape? And these women's like, oh my God, he did this to me while I was knocked out? Because he's a creep. Now, this man, Max Factor grandson, he got all kind of money. He had so much money, he ain't have to work. Rich people like that, they don't work. They just sleep late, get up, go shopping, eat at the fanciest restaurant, and then party at night. Because he was a creep. I know, I'm talking a lot. I can't help it because this bothers me. It really does.
Sorry?
How
many kids did you say you had?
Two.
Are we able to talk about the gender?
About what?
Gender of the two kids?
2 young boys.
If you could get the clarification on his age, that would be helpful to all of
Yep,
us.
we'll get that. If somebody can check his booking, we'll get that right now.
40.
It's 40.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the end of the press conference. Yeah, I think the story that I'm talking about, I think he was a dentist. This was a long time ago when I seen this movie. And I remember, wow, that doctor impregnated these women and putting them under anesthesia. I think that story was a dentist. But the second story I was talking about was a Max Factor, and it was a movie. And one of those Lifetime movies. Lifetime was really popular. Everybody watched those Lifetime movies, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. You got to be careful. We have to be careful. Now I'm going to get into this one here, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's about the movie night. So I'm going to try to do it this Sunday. So Lovejoy, you with it? BG, everybody, whoever want to come, you're welcome. But please, people that's here and that's watching the replay, please email me because I need to get your email address so I can send you the link. Because what I'm going to do is on Sunday, I will start the live stream and I can't be showing no movies. Hey, which ain't going to happen? Just start the live stream. And when people come in, then I'll start the movie. But you have to have the link so you can watch the movie. You don't have to come up on the panel. You don't have to show yourself. You don't have to talk. You can still be in the chat box if you want to. Or you can come up on the panel, chill with me and talk. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you're comfortable with. We're just going to have a fun night, but being educated at the same time about creeps. Because, ladies, we got to watch out. Because there's a lot of creeps out here. You can go to the coffee shop, go and get yourself some tea, some coffee, ice cream, whatever the heck you want to do. And you just say hi to a guy. All of a sudden, he can become so fixated over you. Oh, I gotta have her. Now he turned into a creep. He's stalking you. He's hitting cameras. Yeah, it happens. Yep, we have to be careful, ladies. We really do. And this is not just about, just the pretty girls or whatever. Oh, these creeps want them all. Oh, boy, this is so sad. There was a comment I wanted to say. I don't know what it was. But okay, like I said, just make sure you email me so I can, get your email address so I can send the link and we'll do it like that Sunday evening. So Lovejoy, you with it? Let's do this. And I gotta find the movie. So hopefully I find that movie by then. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember. All right, let me stop talking. I might go back live again later on. We'll talk about Jennifer Lopez. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. And if you want to come hear about Jennifer Lopez, let's talk about it. Because I want to talk about rebound relationships. Because I did do commentary on it. And I kind of knew this was, I was hoping it wouldn't happen. Because they too old for this crap. How y'all gonna be in your 50s like this? Y'all been there, done that. Well, we'll talk about that another day. All right. Yes, please send me. Yes. Yes, Lovejoy. You know the deal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have yourselves a blessed and a great evening. And thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for hitting the like and all that good stuff. And we will stay tuned for some more of this creep. Because there's going to be more that's going to come out. I just want to know about your family. Are they enablers? Or are they embarrassed and disgusted and disowned you? Very curious. Time will tell. Adios.